Hi everyone, my name is Robertson. Today I'll be doing a presentation on the first hack, which is part two of the first hack, part two. So the first thing to do is we need to scan the port. So an intense scan of all TCP ports were used to ensure that all possible TCP ports are covered, ensuring that no open ports were missed or left on scan. This gives a full picture of the entire target surface. So the target IP address was 192.168.56.0/24. So an intense scan of which several ports were scanned, and report for 192.168.56.0 states that the ports were successfully scanned and other several hosts were also scanned. It went further to initiate parallel DNS resolution of the host and completed the parallel DNS resolution. So it discovered some open ports uh, using 445 TCP protocol on port 192.168.56.1. Also another open port at TCP IP which use port TCP IP using 139 which use the TCP on port 192.168.561. Also, another port was open on 135 TCP on the same port number, and also 70 TCP ports were also open. Therefore, the total ports which were left open per the scan indicates that there were 4, and a ZMAP scan report that the host, which is 192.168.56.1, was up and actually running. So the host status summary reports confirm that the host is set up with 4 open ports and 996 closed ports. Therefore, a total of 1,000 ports were scanned, and it also failed to show the MAC address. All the 4 ports that were open used the TCP protocol in a Microsoft Windows computer. So the next part was ethical overview of gaining root access. This is important. It is very important to conduct reconnaissance first to identify the open ports, services, and system configuration. And performing this vulnerability scan will identify outdated software, will identify any vulnerability that is in the system that can be exploited. So attackers often use this vulnerability for their own advantage, and some of these vulnerability may come as a result of a weak authentication. So a privilege escalation technique may elevate access to root level permission by exploiting unsecured file permission, which means the system has flaws or the system was misconfigured. The taxonomy of attack family. The very first one that we're going to talk on is a buffer overflow. A buffer overflow occurs when a program writes more data into a memory buffer than it can hold. Therefore, when this is done, it overrides the memory location. So when a file is in a particular location, this buffer overflow, it causes the memory of the system not to function as it ought to be. The attackers now can exploit the improper memory handling, execute code which may cause the system to crash. This attack is commonly used in softwares, and the categorization is memory exploitation and attack, especially in software vulnerability. The next taxonomy of attack family is privilege escalation. Privilege escalation is the process of gaining access right beyond those originally authorized. For instance, if a privilege if a member is assigned a privilege to perform a particular task and the member tries to go beyond that particular task, that is a call for concern, which involve privilege escalation. So attacker exploit the system misconfiguration, weakness permission. So once a privilege is established, there must be it must be configured so that those that have this privilege should not go beyond their privileges. So these attackers try to exploit the software vulnerabilities to elevate from standard users to administrator or root access, so they can come into the system because of this vulnerability and start doing whatever thing they want to do. The next aspect is a rootkit. A rootkit is a stealthy collection of malicious tools designed to hide unauthorized access and maintain persistent control of a compromised system. The rootkit modified system process evade dictation while providing attackers with ongoing privileges access. Therefore, once they are in your system, they have to they have to persist until the malware that until they install until the attackers are able to install their malware, which they may now receive information from the malware, and they'll now receive information from the malware for their own advantages. The next is Trojan. A Trojan is a malicious software which disguised as a legitimate software to trick users to install it in their system. So once executed, it thread unauthorized access, channel steal data, and deploy additional malware. They rely mainly on social engineering to initiate infection. Therefore, for a Trojan to act in your system, it must come in through there must be several social engineering methods. They come in, they try to impersonate the users, and once the user click any malicious link, the attacker now will now use advantage of uh, the attacker will now take advantage of the system. Viruses. A virus is a type of self-replicating malware that attaches itself to a legitimate file. So most viruses come into the system through uh, by clicking of a file, and now once the file is installed in the system unknowingly, it will start it will exploit the vulnerability in the system. As well as once that is happening, the virus keep multiplying itself and spreading out to other systems, to other uh, parts of the to other file or folder, which continuously disrupt the system, and definitely at the end it may completely shut down the system. So it is a self-replicating malware. So viruses are very dangerous. The next is a return-oriented program, that is ROP. It is an advanced technique that executes malicious code by churning together small intrusion sequences already present in memory. So it bypasses security defenses such as non-executable memory protection by reusing legitimate code fragments and making dictation more difficult. So this is an advanced memory exploitation technique. Common social engineering attack. This is when the attack. This is when attackers manipulate human behavior to gain unauthorized access to the system, and by so doing, they can exploit the system and obtain data. This can be done through phishing, pretexting, and spear phishing. This attack, the main purpose of this attack is just to exploit. This attack uses advantage through exploitation of trust rather than technical vulnerability. It is a human-centric attack. The importance of C-suite training and organizational defense. So understanding all these family equip professionals to make informed risk decision, awareness on prevent how to prevent attackers from exploiting the system through the various means listed. So executive level knowledge, it also help professionals to have an executive knowledge of attack taxonomy to support strategy that aligns with framework such as secure configuration, management, least privileges. So least privileges should not be given without understanding the repercussion, and also continuous monitoring, which is essential for protecting the legacy of the infrastructure. So with all this done, there need to be constant training so that the system keeps functioning effectively. In conclusion, a structured penetration testing exercise on a vulnerable system demonstrates how an attacker can use multiple techniques: reconnaissance, exploitation, and privileges to obtain access in the system, thereby using this vulnerability for their own advantages, and as such they will be able to control the system. So understanding all these taxonomy of attack families will enhance or can enhance organizational resilience, execute weaknesses, execute awareness, and long-term cybersecurity posture. So once once all this is understand, it will be able to prevent attackers to exploit the system for their own advantage, thereby disrupting business continuity.